Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. We're bringing you the latest insights on the real estate scene. Today, we're delving deep into the Lone Star State to discuss a topic that's sizzling hotter than a scorching Texas summer: the real estate prices in San Antonio. Before we get into the current situation, let's quickly rewind to early 2022. Back then, San Antonio real estate prices were even more on fire than they are today, until the dreaded interest rate hikes hit the housing market hard in June 2022. This led to a significant shift in home buyer behavior, with sellers also rethinking their plans. Fast forward to the present day, and we're witnessing a substantial 6.2% year over year increase in home prices in San Antonio. While it may not match the double digit surges we saw during the pandemic, a 6.2% uptick is still above the historical norms. So, what's fueling this ongoing increase in property values despite the challenging interest rates? To get some insights, I had a sit down chat with local lending expert Jeff Snyder, the owner of Clarity Mortgage.
Kind of.
Oh, with the 2007-8 crash.
Yeah.
It's
This is
different this time because back in the crash, that was a complete meltdown and a burn down, like a forest fire. And then things were able to grow from that. This is a zombie economy where nothing's crashed. I would prefer a crash, a clean break, and then you'd actually get the green shoots of the rest of, things would grow back. But we're not we have a zombie in the way, and it's preventing the growth, I think. So we're limping along here.
Yeah. This is definitely strange, different territory. So I mean that
Yep.
which brings me to the question that I know that a lot of people have. They're confused and they're not sure how to move forward. So how are you seeing people move forward in this market right now with the way the interest rates are?
Well, there's a couple things. The industry is always going to react based on what they see as well. So, there's a long-standing saying in our industry that says, you marry the house and you date the rate. So you make sure you like the house, but the rates are going to fluctuate, and occasionally they'll fluctuate in your favor to where you do a refinance. And so the industry sees another 12 to 24 months of this same higher interest rate. The Fed's not going to lower rates; they're not coming down anytime soon. So it's going to be a while before you get back to rates that people are maybe used to seeing, because the rates shot up so fast. We've had rates like this before in the last 20 years, but these rates moved up so quickly it caught people off guard. I think if they had gone from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, people would be okay with that because it'd be a little incremental change each time. But they went from 3 to 7, not overnight, but they went there really quick. So people are their comparison is 3 to 7. It's not 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, or like the increments. That comparison is easy to do. And so the industry sees that, and what they've been doing is they've been rolling out products to address that. So now they can't well, they're giving away some free money. So there's $0 move-in programs. There's a new one that just rolled out in the last month nationwide that's a 1% down conventional loan.
I've seen it.
So what they're trying to do is they can't fix the rates. The rates are going to be above anybody else's ability to fix. But what they can do is change the down payment. And they're doing that. And some of these down payment programs have the same rate as a normal loan. So, if I'm buying a $300,000 home and I'm looking to put the minimum of 3% down, which is say 9,000, they've got you down now to 3,000. So they're actually kicking in 6,000 of their own money. So you're actually going to save $6,000. Well, that goes a long ways towards, monthly payments if you stretch it out over a year or two. So that's
Wow.
probably the smartest way to get into a house today.
And on that point right there, I think you just explained right there in a nutshell why prices aren't just cratering right now. As these new products, some folks are sitting there on the sideline thinking, okay, I'm going to wait for it to crash. Prices are definitely coming down, but with the the down payment assistance stuff, that's actually keeping the prices up there. Am I correct in
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that?
it makes more people eligible to buy that wouldn't normally buy. But the whole point of the whole point of buying is if you're a person on the sidelines and you think you're going to wait till the rates are 5%, you're making a mistake. And the reason is, let's say you wait 2 years and you buy a house 2 years from now and you have a 5% rate. And let's say you move in next to a guy that bought today at 7%, and you guys are right next to each other. Well, your rate's 5% and his rate is not going to be 7%. It's also going to be 5%. He's going to refinance. So that guy that bought today and figured out a way to make it happen today, he's now got 2 years of equity. He's way ahead of you buying at 5%. His rate's now 5% as well. But now he's got, I don't know, depending on the size of the house, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of equity. So it's a smart financial move to buy today, no matter how no matter how you can do it.
Okay. Now you addressed the down payment part earlier. I also was really interested in putting a comparison together on interest rate buy downs. For those folks that are looking at buying today, finding a way to buy today, you got your temporary and then you got your permanent buy downs. What are you seeing in that?
Well, there are two buy downs. There's permanent buy down, and then there's the temporary buy down. The temporary buy down is kind of a marketing gimmick. If the rates are really 7% and you can say you got 5%, that sounds pretty good. But if you look at what you're being charged, it's only going to be temporary. So in 2 years, it's going to go up to 7% anyways. And you're probably going to be looking at a refinance. But the money that goes into that is exactly the same as the savings, pretty much. Now, if the seller's going to pay for all of that, that's great, and then that doesn't come out of your pocket. Yeah, sure, do a temporary buy down. Why not? It'll save you a couple $100 a month the first year, about $100 or so the second year. So that the temporary buy down can work. The permanent buy down, depending on how much it costs and depending on who's paying for it, you're going to find that you're going to pay quite a bit for that. But if you're not paying for it and the seller's paying for it, then that makes sense too. So that's a simple way for anybody anywhere to get a lower rate. And then new home builders, which we're not necessarily cooperating with new home builders on a day-to-day basis, but some of the larger builders set money aside, these bond issuances that they set aside years ago now, a couple of years ago now, a year and a half ago, and they have that's where you hear, hey, we got 4.5% interest rate or 5% interest rate. So they took the money off the market, I believe, back when rates were lower. Really smart by them. I think that money will be exhausted, but that's still a possibility if you can get out there and find a new home build with that kind of interest rate. So those are two ways to lower your payment today.
Okay, so you think this, if the seller's paying for a buy down, and let's say they just have X amount of dollars, where are you telling people to put that money, on a permanent or a temporary?
If you can get a permanent versus if you have the same amount of dollars, you're always going to go permanent.
Okay.
But that's hardly ever the case. So I think I might do temporary because it can typically all be paid for by a seller a little easier. It gets me through the next 2 years, which is kind of the forecast for when rates are going to get better anyways. And at that point, I should be able to refinance in 2 years. Anybody that says you're going to refinance right away, they're not. They don't know that. They're not being honest. But 2 years from now, you'll probably have a chance to look around and see if rates are better or worse. And if they're a lot worse, well, then you're not doing that bad either. So the temporary buy down makes sense if you want to try to go for a buy down. That's what I would do.
Is there a limit on how much you can buy your rate down in either scenario?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just gets more and more expensive and cost prohibitive. That's why people don't buy their interest rate down to zero, because you would be paying $100,000 to buy your rate down to zero. So to buy a rate down from 7 to 6.25 possible, but you get any lower, you start trying to get lower than that on permanent buy downs, especially they cost so much. You're not saving enough to even, it doesn't even matter, so it's a geometric progression on the cost.
There you have it, folks. While interest rates have shot up and may remain elevated for some time, the market has begun to adjust with new lending products to support current real estate prices in San Antonio. Could something come along and change that? Sure, it could. I don't know what that is, but in the meantime, if you are thinking about making a move here in San Antonio, give me a call or text at 210-260-6617 and let's make it happen.